And I did not record at all. Wow. Okay, let me try this again.
Okay.
Hello and welcome
All
to
right.
this. Hello and welcome to the second show of the Whispering Dawn podcast. If you wonder why I'm laughing, it's because I forgot to hold down the button to talk to record this. We are a weekly Final Fantasy 14 podcast. We record every Sunday night. I am your host, and I am Letterthoughts, and as always, I have lovely ladies here with me. Well, besides me, that is. I got two of them with me tonight. Dem Prayclocks.
Hi.
And I'm sorry if I actually butcher this one. Aerith Piverith.
Hi, you got it right.
Yay! You can reach us on our new Twitter accounts, which is at whispering_dawn. And you can also email us now at thewhisperingdawn@gmail.com. So how is everybody doing today?
Very well. Yourself? I'm very...
Doing good.
I'm doing pretty good. I had a good Easter. How about everybody else?
It was fun. Watch the kids have hunt, barbecued outside.
It was okay. Yeah, it was okay. Just did a little... we didn't do any egg hunts or anything because my son's too little for it. But otherwise, it was really good. I'm so sorry about the baby crying in the background.
That's okay. He's allowed to cry. Today we're going to be covering two subjects, actually. We're going to be giving you our experiences with the new patch, now that we've actually completed some of it, unlike last time. And we're also going to be going over the live letter that was released just last night, actually. And actually, I stayed up for that, and kind of wishing I didn't.
I'm really glad I didn't stay up. I'm really glad for that. It was good to read the notes today, but there's no way I wanted to stay up real late for that. So I'm glad you did, though.
Yeah, I just got up early for it.
Yeah, the one thing I didn't like was when I was watching the live thing on actually the Final Fantasy 14's live stream, just all the ignorant people coming in from other games and just posting malicious stuff about the game that they have no idea what they're playing.
Yeah, see, I didn't catch that, so I'm kind of glad that I missed that, actually. There was a lot to read on the notes, and I was able to skim it, and I didn't know that happened. I'm kind of glad that I bypassed that, actually. I didn't know.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I'm kind of wishing for that I didn't do that at all. So how was everybody's experience with 2.55? I gotta say, that cutscene, I know we were warned about the length of that cutscene, but oh my god.
It was like a movie, and it was so worth every second.
It was. A big mistake would be to just skip that and not watch those cutscenes.
Oh yeah, you're gonna miss a whole lot of like really key portions of the story, and beyond that, it was really well done. I was actually really impressed with how they did it, and I guess I can say that that's really like classic Final Fantasy cinematics. I was impressed.
It is, and just the storyline itself, the way you know it's going to move into the expansion is just awesome.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely stoked now. It's gonna be a long wait for Heaven's Word.
It is. It's like mega cliffhangers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, but there's one things I want to ask because how many of you don't have like a character that went through with it, that has like a I'm sorry, a scholar main or something, because I want to see how like some, like, if they skewed a little bit with some of the cinematics here.
My scholar is not my main, but it's my second highest eye level character.
Yeah, I have a scholar, and it's the same. It's not my main, but it's, I guess, next in line for eye level. I don't use it very much though, so.
Okay, so like during one of the scenes, and I'm gonna say right now, if you're listening to this, we're gonna head into spoiler country right now, so be prepared there. But in one of the quests, when Tataru was becoming the bodyguard or whatever, and she went to the scholar thing, one, I think they missed an opportunity with Tataru in there, like especially addressing like people who are scholars, like, oh, I know you've been through this before. But I did find it fascinating that they had like the person that does all the acolyte training um comment on your progression and everything. Did that happen to everybody else, or was it just particular to the scholar?
I'm not really sure because I have a fully leveled Arcanist because I have a scholar and I have a summoner. So I had actually wondered that myself. Was it different for someone who has not leveled scholar? I'm inclined to say that it's probably not, and that it's probably the same for everybody.
Yeah, I think it's the same for everybody on that.
Okay, and the other thing I wanted to ask, and this is the one that confused me because at first, like when that guy came in at the end of the trailer, and this is going to be major spoilers, especially with his son and everything, and was that the same guy that actually took you into your town? Because like I know, like I had to look at his name like afterwards, and it was like the person who actually brought me on this ship or whatever.
It's the
Yeah, that is.
Yeah, it's the same guy. It's the guy that you ride in on the like carriage thing when you first start. Uh, and I guess he makes a reappearance. So I don't know if it's going to be much deeper than that though, because it seemed like it was just a tie-in to all of the story, but it doesn't seem like they're going to play like a super crucial role.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It feels like they left that more another thing on another cliffhanger where he either A, it was by pure luck, but you haven't run into him this entire time, or that's going to go to much deeper roots than what they're letting on right now.
You're probably right on that. Right on that.
Okay,
With Final Fantasy, nothing is ever created without a catch, I guess.
okay, but my question is, does the name of that character change for each person? Because I know, or is it the same person that brings you in from like the boat, like to Limsa, or the same person that brings you into like Granadia, or the same person that brings you into Alda?
Oh, I'm not sure.
I'm not
But
sure. It should be the same. My husband has a character, and he played a complete different class, and it was the same.
truth be told, yeah, truth be told, I'm truly not sure. So I would assume that it would be, but I don't really know.
Because I think they missed an opportunity there. If the people are not the same and everybody got the same NPC there, they kind of missed like a really good, interesting point there.
I wish that I could comment on it a little bit deeper, but I can't because I don't, honestly, I was so wrapped up in the drama of the story that I just kind of assumed it was the same person and didn't even take a chance to read the details of the name.
Yeah, same here.
Well, I mean, the only reason I even like thought of it is because I looked up the person that name because I'd never even heard of him before in the whole thing. And I'm like, who are you? And then when I
Mhm.
did it, it's like, okay, your name is this, and okay, you're the guy who brought me on the boat. Okay, now is this going to be the same for everybody, or is it going to be a different person?
I think it's going to be the same. I think it was the same for everybody. So I know that my husband went through it and he went through the storyline, and the little bit that I saw um, appeared to be identical to my experience. So I don't think that they would customize it. I think that it would be pretty homogenous throughout.
Yeah.
Okay, because that just kind of confused me because like he's like, oh, we finally meet again. I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't come in your carriage. I came up through a pirate ship.
Oh, see, maybe yours was different. Um, for me, when I started, uh, I rode in with that guy into my city state.
Did you go into Ulda? Because I think my city state was in Ulda.
Gridanian for me.
Yeah, mine was Limsa.
Hmm. Maybe that's why it's so different for you, and maybe that's why I'm so confused about it. Is because for me, I didn't come in on like a pirate ship or something. I rode in on the same carriage that I rode out on in the end of 255.
Yeah, same for me.
I guess I had a different experience in my beginning then.
I guess, yeah. I've never. I just assumed it was the same for everybody, but maybe it's not. And I guess now I understand why you're a little thrown off by it. I never played a character. I've had a few different characters, but I've never played one that went into Limsa right away. So I can't say whether that would be the experience for anybody who started in Limsa or if it was just you.
Yeah, but that's interesting to hear.
I know.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look into that more and maybe let you guys know in like the next podcast if
Yeah. Yeah, please do.
the other thing is how about that trial?
Oh,
Oh my God, steps of faith.
it is the stupid thing I've ever tried in an MMO ever.
To to be so complicated and take so many people and get no reward other than story progression is a waste of time.
It was awful. Awful, 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 awful.
Like, give me a minion at least.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I got through it, but I've only cleared it once. And the first time um, that I went through it, I was in it for almost the entire hour. And healing it is awful. And I'm sure tanking it is awful as well, because it's really, really hard to keep the aggro off of the healer. And I mean, people die, and it's just, if you don't get
It,
the timing right, it's too much to get for an MMO where people don't always communicate as effectively as I think that maybe the designers of that trial hoped that they do.
well, short of going into it with, a full free company or just a group of friends, communication is going to make that fight annoying as hell. I mean, as a monk, and I should be staying on the boss and ads, if I wasn't running up to the tower and yelling when to pull the winch, it went south every single time.
Hmm. Oh, it was
I
awful.
I think that's where my experience is different with that because I think when I got in with like people who've actually ran it before. So they were telling people, we need 2 DPS on these. I'll run as because he was the other healer. He's like, I'll run to like the grapple wrenches and I'll do those. And I mean, it went smoothly for us. But the only thing that I had a problem with was the fact that those dragons, when that dragon stomped you, you died no matter how much health you had.
Yeah,
Oh, I
but
can live through one.
at
I
least
can live through one
healers,
stomp. I can live through.
yeah, but at least, healers weren't having to res anyone. But then that was another thing, explaining to people, avoid the feat, and if you die, just res and run back.
Yeah, and I had a lot of major communication problems when it came to me explaining to the uh, the tanks that I can't handle the aggro. Like I get that it's hard for them to keep it off, That's a lot going on all at once. I get that, but I can't handle it. It's too much for me to be able to hold on to all that aggro and heal at the same time because they're hitting me and my casts are interrupting and people are dying. And it's insanity. It's,
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go into that as a healer.
it
I did it as
sucks.
my monk, and I guess that's the cop out easy way, although the DPS part of it is never easy itself. Different mechanics for different classes. But I
hmm
felt bad for the healers and really bad for the tanks because they were running around trying to get aggro, and it was a nightmare.
Yeah. Yeah. Good in combat. It's pretty bad. And I've found some strategies that work, but coordinating it with pickup group is really tough.
Yeah, every single time I went in, it was with Party Finder, and I believe I was on my 14th or 15th attempt, and I was finally just really fed up and tired. And every single time I went in, I was like the most experienced at it, and everybody would be talking, "Oh, I got it down to 68%, 19%." So it fell on whoever got the lowest percent to explain it.
Everybody wants. Yeah. Yeah. I appreciate the ingenuity that it took to create it, and I appreciate the core idea of it. Um, they wanted something probably that's different and unique, and it certainly is different than the standard go in, kill a primal, you're done um, trial. But at the same time, it's too much. I think
It's too much for no reward.
exactly,
I do agree with
exactly.
that, but I do have some other questions here, and I kind of wrote these down, so just reading them off here. Um, the one thing is, when Totoro bids you farewell, the way that the camera angles and everything, it felt like something was going to happen to her.
Well, I
Yeah.
think that goes back to them wanting to leave cliffhangers and let you believe something, and then something completely different happen. They want to catch you, completely by surprise on things.
Yeah.
Well, they did because I thought like the entire
Oh
time
yeah.
I'm like just like almost crying, and I'm like, bye, I'll never see you again.
Yeah, I literally was almost in tears. So
And some
my
of the
husband did
questions I
talk to me,
actually
and I was like,
had,
no.
and some of the other questions I had were just logic ones because like some of the logic didn't make sense. Like, why would the heads of the other countries like feeling that something was going on that was wrong? Why would they just leave like that?
My husband.
I think maybe because they don't like people butting into their city states as far as what they believe to be something that has to do with their city state, and because the way each state is governed, they have their own monarchy or their own whatever. They can't butt in. So why should they?
And I think that they don't help as they're pleading or asking for help for Ishgard, and Ishgard's done nothing but be unhelpful, you know, and so they're standoffish because they've been trying for a really, really long time to bring them into the alliance unsuccessfully, and in a sense, I kind of saw it as
Well, they left like
like
right
their bed.
after they left actually after the Ishcard person was there. After he left, like right before what was his name, Rybold or something like that. I'm sorry if I'm not even remember the guy's name, but before he went like ballistic is when they left, and that was way after the Ishgard person. And I do have issues with how he left too, because he's even making the point. Why would my guards even say this? I haven't heard anything from my contingent. And then the one guard's like, we have to go. And he's like, oh, okay, let's go.
Yeah, true, true.
I think it just should have been that each city state person from Limsa and Gridania, it's more like they just each didn't want to come to the defense of the Warrior of Light. When each and every time the Warrior of Light has stepped up to come to the defense of each city state.
That was like my biggest problem right there. Is like, I did so much for you, and yet this is how you're treating me. I'm sorry. Why did I help you again?
Right. Yeah, and I kind of felt that way too of just like completely getting bailed on and then you lose all of your scions. And I think that they want it to be that way. I think that they want you to feel just kind of alone, and I think that they meant for you to feel that way. Like you're going into the unknown and it's just you on your own. And I think that that's probably going to tie into the storyline in Heaven's Ward, that it's going to go through and they're going to go, okay, well, we're sorry, blah blah blah, and but I don't know, that's pure supposition.
Okay, you did touch about something on there about the scions going and leaving you. Do we actually believe that they're dead at this point? Because the only people that I actually believe are dead right now, and that's only because I don't know how well her protection spells are working, but I think the only ones that to me seemed that actually died was Thingrid and Yshtila, and the rest of them are either captured or just still alive.
Been feeling Leah never dies, or just she's like Princess Peach. She's Peach from Mario. No, Mario. She's always in another castle.
There's no way they're all dead. There's no way they would do that. That would cause too many different problems. I think they'll be able to tie that into future storylines as them returning little by little and rebuilding it little by little, but I don't think they killed them all off. There's no way in hell they would do that.
No, I think they're prisoners probably. So
Okay, so the other thing that I do want to touch upon is at the very end there, you see Tataru is okay, and then you see Yaguri without her face mask on, and how pretty was that model?
oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it, definitely. And I love
Yeah,
they
I'm
did a
actually
great job of
right after
making it
that. I actually wanted to go Aura. I'm like, yep, I'm going Aura. That's a beautiful model right there. That's me.
they did. I'm still torn. I'm pretty attached to my cat girl.
Me too. I don't know if I can leave my little cat girl.
Yeah, I don't know if I can. I like my cat girl, but I'm pretty
My
tempted.
yeah, my cat girl is going away. I'm sorry. I'm going Aura.
But see, that's what I feel. I feel it's going to be so overrun with people going aura route.
And I agree, and I'm kind of tempted to leave it. And I don't know. I'm one of those people that the sameness of myself, over time looking the same way and really just making small changes, my hair or I use my Fantasia just to tweak her look just a little bit. Um, I don't know. I don't know if I want
Me
to change
too.
it.
I'm the same exact way.
Yeah, I want to change that.
I'm happy with my character I created, and other than the every now and then hair change or something, the colors have remained the same. I love my cat girl, and I don't think I'm going to be changing her.
Yeah, I don't know if I will either. It depends on the options available with Aura once I get into character creation. I guess I'll see what happens. If I can find an Aura as pretty as my Makote, I might do it.
Okay, and then the other thing that happened, well, actually, before you met Totoro, is you meet Rybold's adopted son. That, for
Yeah,
me, came out of the blue because I didn't even know he had an adopted son to begin with.
Yeah, that was out of the blue.
yeah, that was crazy.
So
So what do
I'm
you?
just wondering if he's like from actually 1.0 because he said that he was out somewhere fighting, and it's like, and he just now got home.
What? I don't
I
know
don't
because
remember him.
far enough. No, because in 1.0, I had to take a break because I had a baby. So um, I can't tell you for sure, but I don't think so.
I don't remember him, so I don't think so either.
Okay, so he just popped on at the because I thought it was actually Papalu or Papalamar or whatever his name was.
Papa Limo,
Yeah, I
right?
thought it was him, and I'm like, oh my god, he just like made sure nobody was actually there, and then it turned out to be that guy, and I'm like, okay, what happened to like that entire thing? Because that I forget his name, and that's a shame. But he's like he was caught by those people, and it's like by his own Crystal Braves people, and it's like how did he escape?
Oh, I don't know. That
I don't.
I think that they do this on purpose.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that's probably going to be explained with expansion with Heaven's Ward.
I'm sure. I'm sure. But of course, in the end, it'll only be more questions. So
Isn't that how it always is?
Okay, and let's transition from that because we have this nice little trailer that we got that was to me kind of disappointing. I was expecting this 9 minute epic trailer thing to only get like a 5 minute what seemed to be just a teaser.
The
that's
trailer was
entirely what it was.
beautiful, but it was just a teaser.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it was like they were just glorifying dragoons. I have no problem with dragoons, but everybody that watched it is not a dragoon, and of course, everybody wanted to see new armor, new things on their class. So they
Yeah.
just showcased one thing.
Yeah. I kind of felt the same way. I was like, wait a minute. Where's the white mage? You know, that's my main. That's what I've been since I started, and it was kind of a bummer because I felt like they really kind of focused on just a couple classes when they really should have paid more attention to everyone as a whole.
Well,
Exactly.
what was disappointing to me was the fact that they didn't have any like the new classes pretty much in there at all.
Yeah, yeah, I know, me too. But regardless, it was beautifully rendered. I found the music kind of annoying though. I know it was supposed to be, you know, like really dramatic opera, but I didn't really like it. I thought wasn't very good.
Yeah, I wasn't too psyched about that either.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
kind of
so
shrill, actually.
and then we got right into like the main thing, and this is where a lot of like there's a lot of information, but a lot of it was also actually repeat information.
It was kind of yeah, and I felt like when I watched the trailer, I felt like I had already seen it before, you know?
Because they weren't really giving away anything new. There wasn't
Yeah.
anything. It was a recap of snippets of what they've already shown. Everybody was
Yeah.
expecting to see something new, someone new, a new look, and all Ra dressed up as, the new classes. They wanted to see those things.
Yep, I do agree with that, but let's get into some of the stuff here that we've actually thing. And I think the biggest thing for me, and I know before the show, Aerith, I mentioned this kind of, but the like the first couple minutes, and you can even see in there, the only thing that surprised me in that thing was the fact that the new job classes are going to start at level 30.
Well, that doesn't surprise me really because to be able to mix two different classes, if you look back, like I remember when I played World of Warcraft, um, they at one point when they introduced Dark Knight, the Dark Knight didn't come in starting at level 0. The game had been so far in to add a new class to do cross classes that would just throw everybody for a humongous loop.
Well, I think it also like cheapens a little bit thing because I know, especially when I'm doing my scholar, you're slowly learning the mechanics of the class and everything as you're going along. But to be almost like at level 30 to be thrown in at there and already have a lot of your skills, you're gonna be at like a disadvantage against somebody who's been like right mage the entire time or a scholar the entire time because they're going through that level progression.
I think almost anybody comes in at a big disadvantage, especially when it comes to weapons and weapon progression. To get the final weapon is such a long ordeal. Even though they've made it a little bit easier, it is still such a dumb process.
Yeah, no, I don't want to start over at level 1. I'm completely okay with having start at level 30. I'm completely fine with the learning curve.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, I guess I'm the odd woman out here because I actually do think that it's actually, I don't like that. I wish I could start at level 1 and build it up to level 60, but I mean, I can see it.
I mean, when you've completed weapons and you've gone not only weapons, but just the intenseness of getting gear and just going against everybody else, trying to stay, on top of your game, to turn around and have to start at one and go through that insane amount of work just to get to 30 and then from there to get to 50, that would be too much. And most people who start off with those characters, you got to imagine those zones are going to have slightly higher mobs, so you need to start
Exactly.
off a little bit higher.
Okay, I actually see your point there. The other things that were like I said, a lot of this was like old information that we just got new, but the new information when it came in droves. I do like the fact that there's going to be over 50 hours of gameplay.
Yeah, me too. I was stoked about that. It's gonna make it worth it.
Yeah, they made it a point of saying they didn't want people to zerg through everything and just, they wanted people to take it in, to actually love it, to go to the fates, that some of the fates were going to be really big and really amazing. And he wants people to take time, Yoshida, and look at the stuff.
Hmm. I
And
think
to
that's
do
great.
and to do that, I mean, they introduced this like way later on in the thing, but one of the other reasons they're doing it is they're not releasing like Alexandria until like 2 weeks after the new content has been released, and then 3 weeks after that they're gonna do like the Savage mode for Alexandria and the tombstones of Eccentrics and the new frontline stuff. So that way people do have the time to go in there and experience all that.
Well, I'm glad they're doing it like that for the simple fact that well, not most people, I'll say a big percentage of the people are going to grab their main and try to max it to 60 quickly, before they open up and start anything else or even create a new character.
That's entirely what I'm gonna do. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I mean,
get
I
make
can.
sure that I tap as soon as I.
Yeah, my main is my main, and that's the monk is going to get, level capped first and get the best of everything, and that's going to take its time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting from level 30, so when because I'm switching over to Astrologian for my main, but it'd be nice, it's nice to have that time, that 2 week period where I can get that to 60 and join right into the thing with everybody else.
I'm gonna.
Wh- Which is going to beg to differ if you're going from 30 to 60, and they're going to be, I think, a total of 8 new dungeons, they said, what the eye level requirement's going to be for those dungeons.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that it's probably gonna be different. Eye levels. I don't think that they would leave them all, you know, super high. Because there are going to be people that are going to want to start and main one of the new classes. So I think that there's going to be some that are going to maybe even be a little bit lower level. But I'm not, I'm not sure. I guess time will tell.
I mean, it would be nice for them to add something else to lower level other than spamming Satasha when you first
Hmm.
are able to. Being able to have more than one dungeon to spam for a while would be awesome.
I am so sick of running Tamtara Deepcroft to level a tank class. I'm so over it. So I really hope that maybe they can add a little bit more in there, just to give some variety and maybe help bring in the bring in new players too, and not leave them so completely behind on the story.
They're already going to feel so completely behind, like I said, just for weapons. I mean,
They
it
already
it,
do.
it looks so daunting when you look at it. The so many things you have to go through just to get a final weapon, and then for us who have the final weapon, it's like crap. I finally got there. Now, what are you going to add on to this?
Right. Yeah, I know. Well, I'm actually I know really glad that I've been able to complete the main story before the expansion. I feel bad for some of my free company members because they're really going to be missing out on jumping into the new experience with everybody else. And I know that a lot of people are really trying to grind it out to get caught up as fast as they can.
I'm one
Yeah,
of
but it
those
also
people.
feels like they'll miss some of the fun of it by just trying to rush through things. They're gonna, not watch cutscenes, not do this, just to get to you know, that final hurdle.
Well, some of the other
Exactly.
thing Some of the other things that we that was thing was like just the land mass that they said there's going to be 50 to 100%. Well, there's going to be 9 new areas, including Ishtara and the floating city, and all these areas are going to be each of these areas are going to be 50 to 100% larger than our existing areas.
That is so awesome because I guess it doesn't matter if you're going to be looking from above or, from the ground on a mount or walking. It has to be stunning no matter where you look at it.
And this is one thing I liked about watching the live stream was actually they actually went into there and started flying with like the Griffin mounts, and oh my god, it was just stunning. Like the top down, everything. You can go the whole way up to like where the ceiling is, because they're of course it's an MMO. It's gonna have a ceiling, and then you can just drop like really fast right down to the ground.
Yeah, that's the only thing I wish I would have been able to see that. I was reading the notes as they were translated, so I can read where they were translating word for word what they said when they went into the PowerPoint and they went in to go see it. And I wish I would have seen it, but it kind of just makes it a little more exciting for me waiting for the expansion.
What's going to be
Yeah, that's true. The other things about flying, especially since we're going to just transition to it, there's going to be unrestricted landing and takeoff. You're going to have full control of the X, Y, and Z axes. And however, to start flying, you have to be attuned to the area.
Which is
And the,
good because it makes you walk through the area, get to know the area, not just jump straight into flying.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with that actually. Then that's some consistency. Uh because you had to do that when you started the game anyways. You have to attune. I mean, when Gold Saucer came out, you had to attune to the Aetherites in there to be able to
Exactly.
teleport. So
and there's a few things that that they did say that I grabbed onto because I thought they were like really important. One is that flying mounts right now are not going to be flyable at release of the new expansion, but they are
right.
working on that. And that there's going to be a quest to let your personal chocobo to have flight.
I think that is awesome to have your companion be able to take flight because realistically, your companion will be the only one that will be able to fly and maintain ground speed because the flying mounts aren't going to be as fast on land.
Plus, not to mention all the work that you put into, leveling your bird and you've had your bird forever, and I know it sounds stupid, but you build a bond with your bird, so it'd be kind of disappointing to not be able to carry that on.
I love my Choki, and every single time I'm leveling something else, my Choki comes out, and he's the one that's always there to heal and, help you out.
Hmm?
I love my little marshmallow, so I'm glad he's going to be able to fly. The other thing is they actually showed you like a little bit of how it's going to happen. Most of the time, you're going to have to jump to start flying, but there's going to be like areas on the map where you can just fall, and instead of falling, you'll actually just start flying.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I read that on the notes, where taking off, when they were saying that taking off and landing is free and you won't actually fall. If you fall over a cliff, you'll go into instant flight.
Yep, and I thought that was all awesome and everything. But that's also where, I got the WoW people coming in saying that this is a discount WoW and stuff like that. So most of it was like divided between watching this and watching the little bickering on
Well,
the side comments.
those people are just idiots. If you don't even play the game, why bother coming in and commenting on a game that you don't even play? Go
Right.
to some World of Warcraft forum and, spew your hate there.
Right.
Yeah. They didn't get really too much in detail with like the new classes and everything. The only thing that they said that says that the level 3 limit breaks are not going to be shared at all anymore. Each individual class is going to have their own limit 3 limit break.
That is so awesome because he hit it right on the nose when he said when you have a monk and a monk pulls a sword out to limit break, where did this monk stash this sword the entire time?
I've never seen it, like, I've never done any limit breaks myself, but because, like, I've been a healer and I don't really use them. So I might just have to put my limit break on my bar now just so I can be like, oh, wait a minute, I got 3 limit breaks. Okay, let's do this.
They're pretty nice. So I get to run them on, as a DPS, and I think it'll be great to have them incorporate that. Plus, it'll make things a little bit, so that you don't. I hate to say that there's not a lot of teamwork, but let's be honest. A lot of times there isn't always a lot of teamwork.
Yeah.
Well, at least Bard will not have the healing limit break now.
Oh, really? I didn't know. I didn't know that.
What, that Bard has, like, the healer limit break?
Well, I knew, but you said that they weren't going to have that anymore? Or did I misunderstand?
I don't believe they're gonna, because they're gonna have their own personal limit break. So it looks like each class are gonna have, like, the thing. So I think that the Bard is now gonna have, like, almost like a bow and arrow type of limit break instead of the healing one.
That would make more sense. Them being healing as a bard made no sense anyways, but that limit break thing only applies, as from what I read, to the 3 bar limit break.
That, yeah, it does, but the way he made it seem was that they're not going to be shared at all. So they're doing animations, at least the level 3 ones, that they each class are going to have their own special limit break at that level 3.
I think it'd be interesting to see what new actions are going to be added on to each class once they hit for 60.
That'll
I
be
was
exciting, and it'll give variety to people that have been playing the same class for however long.
Like as a monk, I would love to see me get something AoE, something more AoE than what I have that sucks.
Yeah, well, he didn't go into any of that. Like I said, that was pretty much all the job related stuff that he actually dropped because, like I said, the rest of the stuff was just samey stuff, and it's like, okay, can you get more, please? We want to know more.
It'll be
I, I really wish they would come off of this whole tombstone thing, constantly adding and changing the damn tombstones.
Yep, they added 2 more tombstones. If listeners don't know what she was talking about there, they're adding the Tombstone of Law, which is going to have no limit, and the Esoterics, which is going to have a weekly limit.
I honestly have no problem with it. I don't know. I guess it's just, for me, it's the ebb and flow of an MMO. That they change things over time, because if they leave things the same, people get bored and they quit playing. So I expected it.
I thought that would happen maybe like after a patch, not right with the expansion where you're jumping right into trying to get new tombstones on top of that.
Well, it seems
True.
like
I
the
think
only
it'll come
tombs
naturally, though.
it seems like the only
Yeah.
tombstones we're getting right at the 3.0 launch is the ones of Law, because the Esoteric ones he said was going to come like about 5 weeks later after launch.
But the crafters and the gatherers are going to be getting their own type of tombstones.
True. Yeah, I read that too, and I craft casually. It's not a thing that I do
Same here.
hardcore. And so I doubt it's going to affect me greatly.
Yeah, that's too mind-numbingly boring. At least I personally think I just can't.
Well, the things that I took away from that was that you can still get all your classes up to 60 for your crafting classes and gathering classes, but and only 3 of them you can specialize in, and you have to actually use the scripts to be able to change between those specializations.
Yeah, that's just, I don't know. I haven't a hard enough time trying to get my crafters max melded and leveled. So it's just, I don't know. I think it's going to be great for the people who are really into craft, going to be great, or maybe that main crafting. But for me, it's kind of complicated.
I guess that will be able to change some things up for crafters and gatherers and give them something. I'm just glad that's not a headache I'm gonna have to deal with.
So,
Yeah, me
I'll have
too.
to deal with it, but whatever.
But they're gonna get their own scripts, and there's gonna be a red script and a blue script. The red's gonna have no limits. The blue's gonna have a weekly limit. And this is something that I think you asked on the last podcast there, Dan, about uh, Rowena and her whole deal being in Ishgard. It looks like we're going to be doing some um, rare item gathering for her in Ishgard.
Of course we are. That's what we always do. We're the fetch people for her.
You're right. Her errand boy.
Yeah, I mean, and she's going to give us scripts and XP for being able to get some of the spare stuff for her, but yeah, okay, whatever.
I'll probably do it, to be honest. So I uh, I do end up crafting quite a bit. So um, and it's more for me. It's a practicality kind of thing. Be able to make things that I want, and because I have a free company, it is helpful to be able to make things for the other people that I play with. So just
Well, I
means
know
to an end. To an
for
end.
the free company themselves, they're actually going to be able to craft things like the aircrafts and the housing. Um, so it'll be interesting to see how they get the free companies to incorporate that and do that all together as a team.
Now, I do want to interject something in here with the like with the live stream when this was happening. Like the sidebar was, I was reading some of the comments and everything, and people were saying that you can build a ship, then build a house, and put the house in the ship, and it was just getting ridiculous, and it was actually pretty funny.
I'd be okay with that. Like a flying airship house, I'd be okay with that. I'm all right with that.
Me too. I just want to, it's going to be interesting to see how it all comes to play and how it gets used or just all the little particulars that go with it.
Hmm. Well,
That's true.
we're totally stoked for the whole FC airship thing. Oh yeah, we're totally stoked for that. Although I am a little disappointed because I hear that they're coming out with a castle sized free company housing, and I really don't feel like starting over and saving again for another house because it took us a lot to get the large house that we have. So I don't know. That remains to be seen as we're
Well,
gonna take the plunge or not.
it would be cool if they had, for personal housing, little mini castles. Then I'd wait till Ishgard had a residential area and get a little mini castle.
As I'd be alright with that. Yeah.
Okay, and some of the stuff here that we're actually pushing an hour, so we're gonna have to try to get through this as fast as we can. If not, we go past an hour, we go past an hour. But more on some of the fields here. I mean, we've already went over like the new fates, but there's also going to be new field enemies, new elite marks. I mean, who didn't see those coming?
Oh, I'm stoked for the new hunts, especially in new areas to maybe give people some time to get there before people face pull or early pull the damn S ranks.
It'll be the same thing, I think. It'll just be nice to be able to fight something different.
Oh yeah, just I guess different area just makes it kind of brings a little more excitement back to the hunt. Um, I don't know, that's what I think.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. I hunted a lot for my relic, and it'd be nice to have a change of pace.
I did too, and I think it'll bring the whole feeling back of having a moral conflict of dropping a dungeon whenever an S rank is called.
Oh, God, I know that.
To drop or not to drop, that is the question.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it depends on whether you're a DPS, right?
Yep. Because that when those long queues, and I'm so used to them. Luckily, my husband tanks and he heals, so I can get a fast queue if I really want it.
There you go. There you go.
Well, I mean, some of the other stuff that was dropped was we already mentioned the 8 new instance dungeons. We knew about the Alexander raid having a normal and a savage mode. They went over the 2 new primals a little bit with Vanna and Bismarck. They really actually didn't say anything about them, just that they were there and they were still coming. I mean, this stuff I was kind of falling asleep with because it's like the same old information we had and nothing new was actually dropped about them.
Well, I like how they talked as far as system updates when they were talking about the Duty Finder, where 4-man dungeons you'll be able to go in with 2 people if you want to make it really hard.
That is one of the things that I was surprised about, that they actually went into some of the 2.0 content adjustments. And like you said, that they're doing their new relay, they're synchronizing everybody's item level to like the lowest level in that group.
I just can't see anybody wanting to go through the nightmares that some of us had to go through. Like we were talking about earlier before the podcast, just going through some of the dungeons where some people complain about like falling when the wall was coming on AK when you didn't even have to deal with the bees. What are you crying about?
I
I'm
feel
kind
like
of
there
not
should be.
excited about trying to sync the eye level thing. I'm not excited. I don't think that's fair, you know. I don't mind a sync down to like how some of them are synced down to like 110 or something. I don't mind that. But if I go into a dungeon and somebody's eye level 80 and I'm going to be synced down to 110, why do I have to be eye level 80? I worked to get to 130.
Exactly. You work hard and then they're going to take away everything that you've spent all this time building. I
Yeah.
don't, for that, I won't go through those unless I'm on a low level character.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that.
And then they're also introducing some new like loot system things. Um, the it's going to be
They're
Loot
going to bring in
Master.
what's called a loot master, and that is
Yep.
not something that I look forward to in the least bit. That is going to be so annoying.
Well, the one thing about that is everybody has to agree on it before you do it. So if like no like if nobody agrees with it, then you're not going to do it. But I think that's stupid because now the leader gets all the loots and he passes it out like he or she feels like.
Exactly. And that to me is not cool. What happens if you go into like, places like World of Darkness and stuff where you're rolling for your alts and everything else that you have and this person has control?
Yeah, I don't think that's fair at all. I really don't like that at all.
So basically, I better hope I'm a leader all the time so I can at least get the things that I really need.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think a lot of people is going to be actually doing that. If it's going to be, probably going to be a lot of these free companies that are going to do it, and then they're going to end up doing like a I forget what it's called in like WoW and stuff, where they have that whole system where you get like a points and you have to like bid your points or whatever.
Yeah, that was annoying then, and it would be annoying if they did that in this system. My free company, unfortunately, is not as big as the one I was in previous. Um, it's not as big, but it's comprised of real life friends. So we're not able to run all of the same content. I have to pug just about everything.
oh, see, and that's going to put like I think a lot of the smaller free companies at a disadvantage. You know, my free company, we have a lot of people. We're a big FC. I've got 112 or 120 people, um, so it's easier for us. But what about the groups that are smaller? You know, you guys are entitled to enjoy the game just as much as companies who work on a large scale.
Exactly, but we're not able to because we have extreme limitations. I mean, yeah, we can pug and run like if you're running the coils. It's a nightmare sometimes when you pug that with random people who are coming in looking to be carried instead of putting their part into the raid.
It's a nightmare all the time, I would say. Um,
Yeah.
Well, the other system that they're introducing to this is an all greed system as well, where it's just going to be all greed and like no need, like the need greed pass system is not going to be there. It's just going to be all greeding.
I don't like that.
I don't like that. If you go, if like me, if I go into World of Darkness as a scholar and I'm just fingers crossed for something to drop to help bring that item level up because I'm spending my poetics on my monk and I need the 120 from there, item level. It would suck to not be able to need if there's only two healers and now everybody in the party can greed on it. That sucks.
Yeah, it does because everybody's going to greed because in the very least you can turn it in for seals.
Exactly.
So I wonder if how they're gonna do that. Like maybe like when you're going into like the pug or whatever, maybe you can like suggest which system you want to go into as you're going into there.
And it goes back to most people when they jump on, they have horrible communications. They either want to be, excuse the word, they want to be dicks when they get on, or they're an elitist and think that they run everything and control everything, or they're just not wanting to argue with people.
Yeah, that's me. I don't ever want to argue with anybody ever.
Yeah,
Well,
I play the game to enjoy. I don't play the game to sit there and debate and have a world life crisis with you.
Right?
well, the one thing I find interesting is going back to my MMO experience. I was playing a game called Lord of the Rings Online, and they actually had the same sort of
I
thing
love that one.
with the leader of the party being able to decide whether it's going to be a need greed type system or if it's going to be a loot master system and a greed system. And it didn't seem to be that much problems in that kind of MMO.
I think Final Fantasy tends to draw people that it's, for the most part, well, not most, maybe 50-50. Um, Overly aggressive players. You have people that come on and, like, you go into a dungeon, let's say you go into Labyrinth of the Ancients. Yeah, it's very old content for some of us, but there are still people who are just starting off, and that is their first tower. And they will bash them till no end because they did one little thing wrong.
Mhm. Which is awful.
Well, I had experience. I gotta tell this experience now because this happened to me. Um, I was actually I'm leveling with my boyfriend right now, so I'm leveling my white mage, and we got into Bravestop, and I had to stop like at the before the first boss. I'm like, excuse me, I have to go away from my keyboard, and there's the tank doing like a slap emote to my character. I thought nothing of it. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So we go on. We go to the dragon. I sleep him and everything, and we end up wiping anyway because I don't know why we didn't like beat him. But as soon as I got rose myself and everything, I was kicked from the party.
Yeah, I've been kicked a lot actually recently with a lot of the new content in 255 as a healer. If somebody dies, you get blamed, even if it's not, your fault. And sucks.
Well,
I haven't been kicked too much. It's happened to me every now and then. And you're right, it usually happens when I do decide to do something as a healer just to get a shorter queue time. Granted, when I run my healer, I know how to replay my healer, but I can't heal stupid. If and I hate it when it's a monk or a dragoon or somebody ninja who wants to blame a healer when I main as a monk. You need to move. You see that big red circle? That means get out of it.
Wish.
well,
Mhm.
well. That's the thing. It was the tank I think that was blaming me for all this, because we were on this little patch, like just taking on like some of the things, and our DPS dies. That's fine. He dies. I bring him right back to life. So he's sitting there, and what does he do? He brings the mob over to me as I'm healing him. Stops attacking the mob. So I'm getting all the hate now. And then I died. It's like, why did you do that? We could have easily, kept this up until the DPS got here and beat them.
That was a dick move, okay? As a tank, I think personally, my husband's mained as a tank for a very long time. I'm not that I don't have a tank. I plan on leveling a tank with the new classes, but a tank's job is to assess the gear and look at what they think a healer can handle. And if they're not sure, just ask. Can you handle big pulls, medium pulls, small pulls? Don't just go in, balls to the wall and hope that your healer can keep up.
Mhm. I hate when people do that. And for me now, it's not a problem anymore, but it was, for a long time. I mean, my white mage is pretty much fully leveled until I get my dreadworm ring. Um, but before that, it was a problem. They balls to the wall, just like you said. And now that I've got a warrior, I try to be courteous. I make sure that, if someone's new, I take my time. I don't do big pulls. But if everybody's geared and ready to go, all right. But that's just the nature of an MMO. It's real life people that you're playing with, and you're gonna have your nice people, you're gonna have your elitists, you're gonna have your idiots, and you're gonna have people who are rude and mean. It's just, they're behind a TV screen, or a computer screen, so it's a lot easier for them to be mean to somebody because it's not face to face.
Exactly. I know there are a few tanks that I have had run me through things, or just run things with them, and there are very few tanks that I could say are actually just awesome from beginning to end. And there are plenty of healers that, as a monk, I try to stay out of things. I try to not have to be the thing that they have to keep healed, because I know they need to focus a lot on the tank, because if the tank dies, 9 times out of 10 the rest of us are going to die.
Exactly. Exactly.
So job as a melee DPS is get the hell out of the way.
Right. Exactly. I agree.
Yeah, I do have to give props. I forget the person's name. I wish I could have remembered, but we had a tank. Um, I forget what we were running, but he. Okay, I'm sorry. It was Watcher of the Lake. I think the one with like with
The
the
two
big.
dragons.
No, it's the
Keeper of
one
the Lake.
with the big squid.
Oh,
Keeper.
Tasha Hard.
Satasha
Or
Hardwell.
No, the
Hullbreaker.
Hullbreaker. That's what it was.
Oh.
And
Okay,
on one of the boss, like everybody died, but there's the tank still in there. He was a paladin, just killed the boss, killed that boss. Well, we were all standing on him, cheering him on, and I gotta give props to that tank because he took that and he just like beat the boss, and we just kept walking.
Owned it.
That's awesome. I love when that things like that get to happen. I know earlier today, I ran a Labyrinth of the Ancients. Me and my husband were running it, and I don't think I've wiped that many times on Labyrinth of the Ancients since it first came out.
Oh God.
It was to the point where it was just ridiculous. Like, we were dying for just dumb things, and people weren't, I understand everyone has to go through it sometime, and everybody's new at something. But if you don't know, if you didn't watch a video, maybe you should just say, "Hi, new to this." So people know, hey, listen, when this happens, move out of the way. Or when this happens, get on the pad. Not just let me not say nothing, be carried through this. Oh, we died. I'm going to still stay silent.
Well, that's what I
Right.
basically did to my first Word of Darkness. Like, I finally got that done like last week, and I was like, when I was tired, and like nobody was explaining stuff, so I was just healing and staying out of AoEs. That's all I was doing.
I usually try to make a point of watching a video if it's something that has already been out and I didn't see it or I didn't know about it, just to get a general idea of what to do. Um, it's still the reason why I like new dungeons, going in blind, and that's half the fun because nobody knows what the mechanics are. But when the mechanics have been out for a while, I usually think it's a person should kind of take 10 minutes and look at a video.
I agree.
It just depends. I mean, I like going to instances blind and being like, hey, I'm new to this. Please walk me through.
Yeah. Well, as long as you say something, I don't have an issue with it. As long as you say something, I don't care.
Exactly.
Unless it's an EX primal.
It's the people who are silent and say nothing, and you're dying and trying to figure out who the hell keeps causing this.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah,
said, unless it's an EX primal. If it's an EX primal, you got to watch a video. You can't go into Titan EX and not be prepared for it.
No, you can't. Or that would just piss me off.
that's what I'm doing right now. Like, I'm about to go into Garuda hard mode, and yeah, I'm sorry, expert or whatever, and
Please
I'm
watch a
just
video.
and I'm like, okay, before I go into this, I'm actually going to watch a video because I want to have like some basics of what I'm doing here.
For Primal EX
True.
runs and coils, you should always watch a
Hmm.
video. Dungeons, maybe
Oh yeah.
not. Go in blind, learn, ask, okay. But for anything raid related or those EX primals, you definitely have to know what you're getting into, especially like if you went into Infrit Extreme as a healer. I've gone into it where the healer's standing right where all the DPS are, and we're like, you need to stand on the side. You're killing us all.
Yeah, unless it's T4. You don't need to watch a video for T4.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. I haven't done Corridor yet.
T9 is a pain in the ass.
Oh, it's awful. God, is it awful? I hate it so much.
There's
I hate it.
nothing fun about that.
Hate it. No, it's the worst. Well, I don't know. Titan was pretty bad, but T9's pretty. T5 is fun for me now, but T9 is pretty hardcore.
I still hate Titan EX. I dread any time one of our free company members needs it and we'll jump in to help them. And it's always a nightmare, even when you're running it with a full free company.
All right, let's get back
Oh
on
yeah.
track here. Sorry.
Oh,
The
sorry.
No, that's okay. I was enjoying the conversation. The only thing I think we have left to discuss here is just the fact that June 19th is going to be early access. 23rd is the official release. 2 weeks after the official release, we're going to get Alexandria or Alexander. And 3 weeks later after that, we're going to get Alexander Savage, the Tombstones of Aesthetics, and the new Frontline stuff.
So glad I'm able to go into it early and my kids will be on summer vacation. So that means I can wake up early and have some fun with that and don't have to worry about kids in school.
Nice.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the early access yet because this Steam pre-sale stuff is still not on Steam and it's making me mad.
Yeah, I'm a little upset that it's not on Steam, and I'm a little upset that it's not on PS4 yet. So,
Yeah, I play on PS4 and it's not available for it, and I keep wondering at what point does early access end for pre-orders? Like when is the last time you can order a pre-order and be able to get early access?
yeah, I feel the same, and I'm a little concerned I'm not ordering, and we've talked about this before. I'm not ordering the physical copy. I don't need to pay $60 for a statue. Gathers dust around my house. Like, I'm sure it's cool, but I don't need it.
Yeah. The only other thing, and this is what I was mad about this whole thing, because they were like, the entire run up, they're like, ask questions, we'll answer them. And they answered no questions, except one. And that question was something about if the Dark Knight was going to get a mount like, the other tanks. And yes, they are.
Dark Knight
Yeah,
is
I
going to
wish
be
they'd
the
have.
only tank that I will ever try.
Yeah, I wish. Oh, I love tanking. I think it's really fun, actually, and I'm really excited for Dark Knight.
I've never tanked. I've always done DPS and heals. My husband believes that I should get a tank perspective and do a tank. So I decided to do a Dark Knight just to be able to get a tank perspective on things.
I think it's really good to be well-rounded, and I really suggest it, and you might surprise yourself. I thought I was going to hate tanking. I love it. I totally like
Really?
tanking. It's
My husband
fun.
says the
Yeah.
same thing. He says, he does it to be well-rounded. He has a tank, healer, DPS. He's kind of sick of his tank at this point. He's tanked so much that he has fun with, like, he loves his ninja. He has a lot of fun with it. So I think he just likes the change of pace, but he's a really good tank.
Tanking. Stand that.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing that made me mad the most was the fact that they didn't answer any questions. It's like, why did you have us submit questions if you weren't going to answer any?
I think just so people can get it off their chest and answer the questions, and also maybe give them some insight as to what people are looking forward to know what to tweak and what to add, or, this live letter really didn't give a lot of way or give much info. Um, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think they did. There was a lot of stuff to pour over, look over, and read. But like you said earlier, a lot of the stuff was redundant. They had already explained it, shown it, so said something about it.
Well, I mean, at this point, this is when they like stopped. The first one was like after all this stuff, and then the second half, which is why I thought was going to be the questions. And I'm like, okay, we're going to get to the questions, and they just went over the guy who made the trailer. Yoshi just interviewed him, and then Soken came on stage for a little bit, and then after that, they showed the trailer for Decidua with Yoshitola in it, and then that was the end of it. It's like, okay.
Right, yeah. It was a little lackluster.
I don't know. It's going to be pretty fun on day one when it happens. Well, it'll be technically two times fun because pre-order people, early access, you'll get to see everything and go in, but then you're going to see it flood when they open the gates of hell for everyone. Um,
Oh yeah.
and you'll see everything get drowned and everybody wondering where this is, where that is, and anybody who had early access is going to be explaining everything to everyone.
Oh yeah.
I think it'd just be fun just to get early access just to get into those dungeons early. Be like, here we go. Okay, live stream these dungeons. Here you go. Here's what we're supposed to do.
Well, if they'd ever release it out on PS4, I'd sign up for it. Oh.
Me too.
Same here. My husband plays on the computer next to me, and I play on the PS4, and he's always griping at me that computer is, a way better method. Load times as far as PS4, even though it's way quicker than a PS3, it's still when you teleport into an S rank. Oh my God.
Oh, I know. I know.
And like I said, I'm still waiting for the Steam. So, Square Enix, if you're listening to this, which I hope you do, but please, please, please let us know when Steam pre-sales are going to be on.
PS4 people would like to know as well, so please keep
Oh
us
yes.
posted.
How about those 360 people? They could play too.
They could play. I don't know. Do we want them?
I don't know. I'm undecided on that one.
Well, we know these Mac people are going to have it.
Yes,
Ye-
that's true.
I didn't know there was such a big base for that, though.
There's always a base for everything. I know when I was playing another MMO here, Marvel Heroes 2015. I'm just naming dropping these right now. I know there's a whole forum just Mac users saying, "When's this game coming to Mac? When's this game coming to Mac? When's this game coming to Mac?"
Yeah, I had a Mac for a really long time, and it was a bummer because when this game, when 14 came out, I had it on Mac. That's all I had. I didn't have a Windows computer, so I had to wait until it came out on PlayStation. So I missed out on a lot of the things that they offered because I simply had no way to play it. So it's interesting to see, that's interesting to see they've really opened up to other platforms.
I want to know if they're going to add any more minions.
They'll add more minions. They always have more minions.
Well, you're getting some minions there with the pre-order
Yes, and mount, flying mount.
and the collector's edition.
More minions.
Well, that's what I'll be doing is the collector's edition.
Yeah, I will be. That comes out on 4. So.
I will probably get it the regular version and then get the collector's edition later.
It's out on. No, I'll be getting the collector's edition. It's already decided.
Yep.
But I think that's all we have to discuss today. What were your thoughts about the live letter? Like I said, I thought it was just lackluster. Not a lot new stuff dropped.
I would have rather they hold off on doing a live letter when it would be more organized. It just felt like they just wanted to throw people a bone at that point. Um, that's what it felt like to me. I'm glad for the info that we did have, a little more insight as to what they plan and what to expect. But then again, until it's actually here, nobody will be fully satisfied with whatever information they give us.
This is
That's
true.
true. I did like the fact that they went over the flying mechanics and stuff like that because it just shows you, okay, we're trying to get this right and everything.
True.
Well, either way, I'm excited and I can't wait for Heaven's Ward to come.
So I got one question because I know this was brought up on another podcast, which I'm not going to name at this moment. But do you think it's actually fair to have the story actually affect us being able to go into Heaven's Ward like immediately, like having it story locked into Heaven's Ward?
I think it's entirely appropriate. Because
Yeah,
if you are able to show up there and you haven't done the story, you're going to have no idea what's going on. It's going to throw everything off. The whole entire game progression is going to be off. So, no, I think it's appropriate. And I think that they did that right.
exactly. You shouldn't be able to just go right into it if you haven't progressed in the story. Like you said, it would throw people completely off, and not only that, if it takes the joy out of the game if you don't get to follow the story itself, and it's like jumping to the end of a book.
I
Right.
think
And well, isn't that the whole point of an expansion, anyways?
I think that the whole thing that people have a problem with is not like the story being story locked going into Ishgard, that it's story locked that you can't even go in there to do anything, like anything at all, until you've done the story.
Well, you shouldn't. If you haven't done the story and you don't know what you're getting into over there, you shouldn't, because if they're expanding the level cap, you're going to assume that that's going to be a higher level area. Um, so why would you want to go there? You need to do everything else first and do the same grind that everybody else before you has done.
I agree. I agree entirely.
I actually have no qualms with it being story locked. Because I think one of the major, especially going into like a Final Fantasy game, is that story. You have to have that story, and for it to be story locked like that, I don't have a problem with it at all.
I don't either.
Me
But
either.
I can see some people, because some people are not there to do the story. They're there to just do the fights and do the dungeons and do it PvP or whatever.
Those are most of the people that want to get carried through everything.
Yeah. No, you got to do the story. It's just Final Fantasy. It's just the way that it works. I don't know. What do you do in playing a Final Fantasy game if you're not going to at least play through the story a little bit?
Exactly.
Well, I think the other concern is a lot of people are coming from other MMOs where you're not story locked and going into the new areas without unlocking the story first and stuff
Yeah,
like
but
that.
you left that MMO. You're in a different one. So the game rules are different per game. You don't drop one game, pick up another one, and think it's going to be exactly like the last game you played. For that, you would have never left your last game.
Right. Exactly.
I kind of agree with that, but I think that's what we're gonna do tonight. Do we have a topic for next week, or do we just want to do like just our experiences, or if something comes up?
Yeah, let's just do that and from there then, I guess, huh?
That sounds good.
Okay.
Alrighty, well, until next time, I'm Lothar Wyleth, and I'm gonna say goodbye. How about you girls say bye too?
All right. Bye.
See you next week.